down. So now we're down to a 1v1. Mers has done brilliantly there. Get the res, it seems like it actually.
This is such a...
Hello?
Yeah, one person getting knocked. He's staked in. There's no time to get off of it. The 50-50 mind games back and forth. The pickaxe coming in 3 seconds for Swag to stick it through, and Pablo ends up staying alive. This shouldn't even be allowed.
Yeah. I don't know how he's done it. He's gotten the res off. And so Lysen, who was doing a brilliant job to keep his team in this one, now not looking too great. It's a good shot there, but ultimately, with such low HP, Swag and Pablo will deal with him. The Flames boys come away with the win here. And that's exactly what they want coming into game 3. Maybe made it a bit more difficult for themselves, but ultimately, the most important thing is that they win at Osborne.
That's the first few points for them on the board. 6 rolling in. Right now, Marine and Rifla, I think they're 6th place overall coming into this game. And I'm always doing my double check thing on the side. We can literally just see Team 6 above Rifla's name and fully confirm. I gotta drop the old habits, man. This is so convenient. I love it. And they're still going to be pressuring. This is the one thing I like about teams in the lead. You know, you don't change how you're playing entirely, especially experienced teams come in, previous FNCSs, they get first overall in the first few games, right, Levin? And then they just change things up entirely, become so much more passive, and they wonder, why did the games change? Where are our points going? Not the same team that got first in the first few games.
Yeah, this is one of them situations where, you know, you got a lot of these teams who really want to try and make sure that they can replicate the success of former games. As we take a look at some of the replays, over at the Joneses, things going down. Wouldn't expect anything else. Oh, Nixon, that's a nice little shot. We saw this fight just a moment ago. Swag did well, though, to close things out. And that's the story of Osborne fighting it.
Bro, where's that thing coming from?
It can be so brutal if you're on that losing side.
For game number 3 as well, the checklist for a lot of players, this might be the last time they try a certain strat. Even more desperate overall. Maybe this is why Rifle and Marine are really trying to push people around their spot, right? If they win a fight a 3rd time in a row, it might be a signal for the enemy team they're facing to choose a completely different spot. And now they have the back half of the competition bolstered up, an entire POI to themselves. Houses, chests they didn't have before to go even further. Boone, though, for the big shot, he's going to stay all the way low ground in the basement.
Yeah, this is nice. You can see Rifle and Marine taking up different positions either side of these two, forcing them to make a decision as they look to pincer in. Some really nice fighting mechanics. They're going to just play it slow though in the meantime. Choose to dip. Taking a bit too long for their liking. So they'll get away just there. Cthulhu will live to see another day.
One thing I'm liking a lot about this new map is the introduction setup that have somewhat of, you know, henchman type chests, some buffed up chests at the same time, campfires. You have the spreading of coolers around the map as well as those produce boxes. Lots of ways for people to get their game started if, you know, off spawn doesn't work out too well. I wanted an insight though to Queasy and Hen. And, you know,
Otherwise, great, right? They're able to get materials, a really good chunk of metal at this POI, which can be a problem for some teams. They can leave if they want to with a whiplash. They're sticking with their truck for the meantime. I'll see if they go. Plenty of produce boxes over towards the north side of Sleepy. The one thing I will say though, right, if you have watched any of their Cash Cup games, they have often struggled with more southern zones. And as you can see, they are heading to a south zone. So we'll see how our 3rd place team does. Of course, Boop emphasizing in that little break there how just important it is, right, for teams to pull zones, as much as there's plenty of strategy and preparation that goes into it. especially early on in this FNCS, we are seeing that when teams don't pull zones favorable to their POIs, there can be a bit of a struggle there as they try to traverse and rotate through. And that's only going to get more difficult in these FNCS lobbies, so we'll see how teams deal with that. This, though, is one of the zones which probably will encourage teams to go through tilted, right? We talked about how certain zones means that, you know, maybe the tilted players have a bit more time isolated and tilted without any teams interfering. But with this zone, you're going to expect a lot of teams to be coming through here. And our first place team is going to be one of them.
Wow, nothing can go wrong if you're just rotating through tilted in first, right? Surely there's not going to be a disaster that happens when you're in one of the hottest spots of the map that everyone has to rotate through. It's very good to stay here for as long as possible and not move out of the POI. Phoenix and Ryzen know exactly what I'm talking about, so quickly they move towards the outskirts. And on the left side as well, wow, I like this shot too. Back down to Rocky Reels. It feels like I'm having deja vu from the first game on how this one goes. And if that's the case, Levin, I mean, Phoenix and Ryzen, it's paradise for them.
Yeah, look, for a lot of those North teams, they will be happy you didn't pull all the way south, right? When you have a zone that pulls that far south for the first zone, typically you would expect it maybe to pull a bit further down, but fortunately it's sort of just plop in the middle there. And so a bit more of an even playing field for a lot of the teams around the map. Some technical difficulties there with the vehicle. Things happen.
One thing I'm noticing with Phoenix and Ryzen as well is that they're a very on-guard duo 24/7. A lot of the times when you see a few duos play, they have moments where they let their guard down. They don't maybe build as much. They don't invest too much into where they are. They stay maybe at 75 or 50 shield to see if they can get a siphon or any extra greed along the way. They're on guard a lot, which makes it so that they are a little bit less resourceful the entire time. They might not have, you know, the full inventories you see right now. Their mats might be down entirely. But it feels like playing that ultimate defense, Levin, is working out really well for them in the first two games.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of it will come down to how, you know, they're able to play these zones out and the sort of decision-making that they make. But they've done a decent job thus far. Of course, that first game really was sort of one that's keeping them up in first. Second game was a bit more of a struggle. But for the meantime, they still have options. Like you sort of alluded to, though, it's not perfect right now. They're going to need a refresh. They're going to need to do something to get their materials up. Not many options in terms of farming potential right now around them. And so they're going to have to make some sort of a power play at some point. Maybe they make it to full stage now, but 58 builds in Phoenix, not going to be good enough moving forward.
The inventory slots down. I feel like before they were also tagging along on high points to many different fights and coming in and cleaning up after the fact. This time they're absolutely low ground. They're surrounded by builds and buildings. It looks like they don't have a say as much in this game. Talk about a say though, Hen, for the moment, is kind of dictating how this lobby gets to play. 8 total elims throughout the day right now. That is a huge number for a, you know, final round type qualifier lobby. That's like something that's not usually common for, well, almost 3 games in a row. It has to be that way, right?
Yeah, and look, when he has Queasy leading the way for him, you know, he's got excellent direction. My biggest fear with this duo, with any duo that Queasy's in, is as much as he's a brilliant mind, will there be enough firepower in the duo for them to be successful? And I think with Hen, there's never any. The idea behind it right now, realizing that dead side of zone, not going to be many players in this vicinity. If we can take a bit of an isolated fight against Amplify and Flodax, we'll be able to deal with our surge issues. And this is really nice because now they're actually going to use the builds that Amplify. And would have wanted a bit more, but this is brilliant. Amplify down. Flodax now left alone. Oh, this is what it's all about right now, Shayo.
This is just ridiculous. I haven't seen a pinch like that. That slow, thought out fundamental since, you know, watching Zayt at Loot Lake just trap teams who just end up landing in, not knowing exactly what they're doing. They make a seasoned veteran like Amplify look absolutely clueless in that circumstance and that aspect. And that is just crazy from Queasy and Hen. They just lock it down. We're talking about trouble with Surge, 367 above now. They're just here to entertain us, Levin. They
Pension there, you saw Hen sneaking up and around. He knew what he was doing. I'm sure we all would have wanted to be in his position, ready to just put your finger on the trigger and let loose. But you can see now, from being below on Surge, 327. It's plays like that, right, that can just really sort of sort you out. But you saw how creative they got and how successful it was in the end. A beautiful play, and now we're going to have to see something beautiful from Horizon and Phoenix. As they just look to take a standard box fight. We all take these, but in these sort of environments, they get really difficult. 43 above, but they won't be satisfied, and so they'll see if they can do a bit more damage. They can hear the other players looking to use shields, so they know they're low. There is a bit of a ticking time bomb there.
Specifically though, right now, even if you take into account Surge, you take into account their health bar, it kind of looks like the main issue for them is a health bar you guys can't really see, or it doesn't look like one at the moment. It's their resources overall. Missing a few inventory slots. We tuned out with them. They had about 58 total builds on Phoenix. Now it's down to 38. So they are dwindling on that aspect fast. And you could be 100, 100. You could be 700 and 700 shields and health even, right? But if you don't have materials, if you don't have weapons to clap back, ammunition, shields, it doesn't matter. The lobby will eat you alive. So those mats, very important. And now Phoenix will start to run away. Ryzen actually leading everything. They get to this building, they can't farm everything out supremely. The metal will be everlasting kind. There's not much really to find inside except for a few vending machines or boxes you can get maybe +4, +5 from. They'll be able to get their, you know, their wooden brick topped off completely. Vortex and Janus has been taken out by DKS in the air almost. It looked like maybe a Spider-Man mishap, and it's Cammy and Teak that get the loot from them, which is crazy. Is that a Mythic MK7?
Done a decent job of being able to get some eliminations so far in this game, 6 and 3 respectively. So yeah, not the Mythic, but still, you know, they're going to put that to great use. It's funny because where they are on the map, they basically the general area of their split. So you look at some of the things you missed. Kiriachi here, doing well to hold off with the stare. Stormy Rat picks up an elimination as well. Those two.
Felt like I was watching like a trash armored walls all around them. Even though they're lethal, they're a full fire force. I feel like a lot of the fights we're starting to watch in like game 3, maybe even game 4, might be a little bit too desperate, not as organized. But then also we saw the Hen and Queasy pinch break. Some teams still in control. Kiriachi needs to find some med mist, a med kit, something somewhere. It looks like no, for now, just run into his overall, but with what, 10, 20 teams around him, even one little mishap will just have that HP bar deleted.
Yeah, this is going to get rough for them. They've been pretty consistent thus far, sitting in 6th place as you can see, so they'll want to keep that up, but like you said, it's going to be an uphill battle. This game is all about resource management to a degree, and so when you don't have those resources, all you got to do is, all you're spending your time thinking about, I should say, is how you can get them and how you can put yourself in a position to be able to make it through some of the more difficult zones towards the end of the game.
We keep saying uphill battle. When does the downhill start? Is it even a hill that we're talking about right now? Because it just seems like some of these part of the roller coaster when you're going down, they're just going up forever. Complete anxiety.
It's more like running into a brick wall, if anything, right? Just very, very difficult. I'd be surprised if Queasy didn't farm that brick. Yeah, I was about to say.
Stay on top of it. That'd be the worst ride, though. Just imagine only going up and then having to just, I don't know, walk down. That's what it feels like for some of these teams. Let's see that perspective. Just the upwards roller coaster. Hold up. Phoenix and Horizon. Is this where they get their siphon? Might just be. That's how it happens. So they're staying low key. Everything looks absolutely disastrous. And they're like,
that's what we talked about, right? In terms of being able to. They find a team which, you know, was caught unawares, confined to just what, 1, 2 boxes, and they got in. And we know that with this season, the Striker SMG, 2 players coming at you with that, it can be very difficult to deal with. And so advantage. We know that. What's the biggest advantage for them now is the fact that they're looking real good on the materials. Phoenix there, 147 builds, nearly maxed out. That's where they want to be right now.
I think ammunition might be an issue though. Never mind, they just get split like what, 1,000 AR almost? Or two consider. This positioning, all good though. Stormy right Kriachi, this is their all in. This is but on a different side of the map. They need to find the same type of refresh or they're just knocked out of this game.
Yeah, they need to come up with something huge here. But some of what you just said. And done, you can see their players fighting them on the against the walls, and they will be crushed. Vino and Joe, you brilliantly to take them out, and that's going to be the 6th place team down and out. Unfortunate, but that's what happens sometimes when you are scuffed and you're desperate.
It's going to be a little bit of stop desperation from Ryzen and Phoenix as well. We just saw them get so much good loot, lots of shields, and they were looking good when they got it too. Now just getting into this portion of the zone, it's cost them so much, and they're getting focused. I'm looking for armored walls for this rotation. Not having that utility specifically in this season might just prove disastrous, but they have a little bit of the sightline cut off. Ramp put down. Phoenix though doesn't even care about the floors up top. Look at them, still aggressive as they move. They're not scared. They're not psyched out from being all the way in first place. Still playing how they should. They'll try to get in. Cammy and Teak right behind them, getting bombarded with surge shots and the pressure from moving inside to the zone. This is going to be bad, but you can count on Cammy to get a last-second beam. He gets a little bit in there. Surge finally takes down. They have to find a bit more. There is a package waiting slightly inside the zone. They might go for it too. That's another pad they can have. 3 pads 11 for this end game. Should secure.
Yeah, this could be a really huge game for them. They're really great at making rotation and getting in really cleanly. But now with this many pads to sort of make that an easier ride for them. First movement is going to pull towards west. The team now trying to get up to that 6th zone. And this team has all the options. They've got the Rip Blast, some peppers, some red tags. Literally couldn't ask for more.
I think the worst part about it though, it's like, you know, carrying in the groceries in one trip. You have a little bit too much to hold on to. Well, Cammy gets psyched out, tripped, the bag's ripped, and then, you know, literally all the food's gone. He's got 3 launch pads. You got to make sure you use them at the best time. Squeezy and Hen actually force out one as well. Why not have any of their own, but they have the position, and it's always the best one on the entire zone. They look to pinch the entire lobby, it seems like right now, too. Squeezy denied access to the box, but now they have height once again, cranking straight up to the sky. It's too easy today for Squeezy and Hen.
Yeah, you saw how ready they were as well. Made sure to pepper before they padded. As soon as they landed, they could quickly 90 their way on up. And everybody else knows this is Queasy and Hen's height. They're going to just cover the zone now and look to try and get as many eliminations as possible. Phoenix and Ryzen will go down though. And so first place really is going to be up for grabs in this game. And we know there are a couple of these big teams looking to get it. Cammy and Teak, who looked like they were in such a strong position before. Teak down to bare bones. Cammy as well needs to try and provide some space and time for his teammate. Teak though looking to get right back in. Even with his low HP, he knows, look, let's get a refresh. We're down on surge, we're 8 below. Let's do some damage. He won't be able to outlive this too long, so the desperation's really kicked in, but there are players on low ground for them to capitalize on, and Cammy will do just that. Takes down Michael. As now time gets to go in, they got to move. Teak doesn't have many options. It's really rough for him. His loadout isn't looking the greatest. But for the meantime, no Riley, Aqua will be dominant on high ground. Not going to have that option right now. They're chilling close to it though. They'll keep their eyes on it. Look for any opportunity to try and take it for their own. But they've got to be careful because they've not got much resources to work with. And they've got players who are looking at them. The Spider-Man will come through and O'Reilly will move to the front of zone. And this gives them a bit more time to figure out their plan.
Kemi and Teak, though, they secure it without even the use of any one extra launch pad. They're in the center point of zone, and also on the right side, going to be just brawling out side by side. Not sure if he took out anyone. No, both beams still alive in the sky. No rally Aqua. They go toe-to-toe, box to box with Drulex. He goes down. A third POV from the backside is going to be a trap, a pitfall. Quicksand for them in the box, and they can't breathe. They get taken out. Kemi and Teak, though, somehow still alive. Powered through 5 different duos in second place for the entire day. Now, hold that torch at the very front portion of the lobby. They're looking back and beaming still. Does Kemi have even more pads? How many mats do they have to deal with? It doesn't matter because they're bullying everyone down below. Flames extinguished on the grass as Teak gets out swag and gets that full elimination as well. They are making sure no one's allowed to be behind them. Just blazing a trail as they control mid-ground. The Pepper here too for Teak to get fast, but he's focused on the shot. That's another one. And both players still alive. The focus here is this low ground. They might be taken out, but they go down with a big message.
Yeah, they had low ground on lock there, even though they were on mid ground. They eventually go down above everybody else. They are going to look to take some shots at players below them. Marion all alone. Task with no materials. This is the worst position to be in, and he'll be sent right back to the lobby. But you can see can't keep hitting these crazy shots. He will eventually fall as well.